Hello everyone, a very good morning, afternoon and evening to all. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to technical session 5F. My name is Anisha and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th World Conference on Information Systems for Business Management, ISBM 2025, Bangkok, Thailand. The 4th edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held yesterday in Bangkok, Thailand, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom today and tomorrow, that is 25th and 26th of September 2025. I hope you all will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 10 presentations. Each presenter will be given 10 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for question and answers. On 9 minutes, I'll be raising a general reminder. There's also another request to all the participants that you all please stay connected with us till the closing of the session. And if you have any update or query, then you can write it to me in the chat box. So just before we start with the session, I'd like to introduce you all to the chairs for this session. We have Dr. Vikas Shah. He currently serves as Senior Vice President and Chief Architect at IDB Bank with over 25 years of experience in enterprise architecture, strategy, and governance across financial services and technology. He has been recognized with multiple US patents, 15 awards, and over 30 publications and keynote presentations. His prior leadership role includes a position at Knights of Columbus, Ernst & Young, Wipro, and Nortel. We welcome you to the session, sir.
Thank you, Anisha.
Yeah. And we have another session chair, Dr. Amita Sharma. Dr. Amita Sharma is an assistant professor, selection grade in the Department of Computer Science and IT at IIS deemed to be University, Jaipur. With over 13 years of teaching experience, her areas of interests include software engineering, networking and security, data mining and knowledge discovery, database systems, web services, as well as the integration of Vedic science with modern theories. We welcome you to the session, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So now we'll be moving forward to the very first presenter of the session. And we have Sheetal Kharpade with the paper titled A Holistic Review of Deep Learning Methods in Speech Emotion Recognition. Do we have Ma'am Sheetal here in the session? Or any of the co-authors of the paper, if they're present in the session? Since there's no response, we'll be moving forward to the next presenter. We have Padmadas Sundaram with the paper titled AI-Enabled Resource Synergy Model, AI-RSM, a novel framework for resource resilience for smart cities. Do we have Padmadas with us in the session?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm Padmadas.
Yes, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'm about to be presenting my screen. Okay. So I believe the screen is visible to you.
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So first of all, thank you, Team ISBM, for accepting our paper and giving us an opportunity to present our paper titled Reviews AI-Enabled Resource Energy Model, AARSM, and our framework code the resource energy for the smart cities. So this is a collaborative paper which is done by Sharon Elisabeth Kushi, who is also working as a colleague of mine, also a research scholar at Amrita University, and Dr. Shah maybe, who is working as an associate professor at Amrita University, and Sophia Ranishi, who is also in the Department of Management and Professional Studies in Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, India. So technically about to the further, without any moving on to the further ado, let me move on to the situations of the abstract actually. So about the part of apply, we will specifically focusing on the waste management and resource recovery to be very precise. So currently, when you take about the global ranking and scenario, you can understand a huge situation like an urban challenge where we are facing a huge problems on the elements of waste and waste management problems. So the research will be specifically focusing on the management oriented framework where we will be focusing on integrating a framework. We will be talking about implementing a model framework which will be inculcating the process of including industrial symbiosis in the smart city requirements and so on. So the core objective of the project is something like, the reserves recovery, where we'll be focusing on the management of waste, where the concept is very simple, like we are focusing on the element of management of waste, where we are integrated the principles of artificial intelligence, industrial symbiosis, Industry 4.0, and IoT things. So beyond the algorithm, the guiding principles which you are focusing on the elements are of the circular economy, smart infrastructure governance, and the adaptation system. So about the part of the current scenario, when we talk about the global population things and so on, we actually do have a problem relating to the part of practical impact. Even though we do have the sustainable development goals, which were stated by the United Nations, we have the 17th goal. Specifically, the extent to which how we are actually promoting the sustainable development, or we're comparing the sustainable development goals, the extent to which every of the goals are aligned to save and recall in a situation like we can prosper for the further future generation is asking is a huge question and so. So about the part of the introduction to the project paper, it actually started as a problem like the current situation of the people who is residing in the city areas as of 2025 is 55% of the population. Out of it, based upon the study and statistics, it expected to be having a huge, tremendous increase by 70% by the year of 2050 after 25 years, which means there will be a huge increase of 2.5 billion people to be very precise. So in the increase which is about to be happen, about to be happening, the 25 years is talking about challenges coming from the perspective of an urbanization, like the pressure on the global ecosystem and the pressure on the natural resources, where we will be focusing more on the pollution part, and the unlimited one will be having a situation like we will be focusing on the exploitation of the natural resources, things and so on. So it's a principle like we are not at all focusing on the ability and alignment principles of we should be saving the environment and preserving the environment for the future generation. So what we are planning to do is of very simple approaches like combine the technology, artificial intelligence, industrial symbiosis, AIoT, smart city, and circular economy into the principles of waste management process and so. So based upon the things, we integrated the principles of machine learning, big data, IoT, GIS, and ERP sensing technology. That's our principal theme actually. Integrate the technology enable things into the situation of waste management process. Let's save the environment by inculcating the elements of principles of whatever resources we have currently from the perspective of technology. So the research significance is very simple actually. It is actually talking about a situation of it will be bridging the AI, circular economy, and smart infrastructure into the waste management principles. So it supports the development of a resilient resource recovery city, which where we will be focusing on the primarily situations of waste management principles, and we will not be making a situation of huge pollution to the environment. We will be preserving the environment. We won't be polluting the environment by these adopting these principles of waste management. So the significance of the study, like the way we talked in the situations of introduction, it is actually highlighting the urgency the requirement related to the increase in the urbanization, where we are actually constructing the home, constructing the infrastructure, and indirectly or indirectly, it ends to a situation that when we are residing in those specific spaces also, we are actually directly or indirectly polluting the environment in situations of like biogas things and so. For example, I'm residing in Ohio. The kitchen waste could be an issue. The environmental issues which are about to be emitting from a car is an issue, and n number of other things. The way we are actually polluting the environment is increasing. So there actually require a situation of inculcating the waste management principle, where we are focusing on the principles of introducing technologies of artificial intelligence, IoT, Industry 4.0 into these things and so on. So the the principle is of integrating artificial intelligence into the industry symbiosis, where we'll be focusing on the data-driven decision-making, systematic modeling, intelligent automation, adaptability. So what we are actually proposing is of creating a framework, which we call it as a artificial enabled resource energy model, which we call it as, we abbreviate it, the authors call it as AIRSM. It expands to be as artificial enabled resource energy model. So through this papers, the four authors are thinking about that specific angle only. We'll be just introducing a model which is integrating IoT, artificial intelligence technology into the principles of waste management, so that how we can reduce the principles of waste which is actually polluting the our environment, to be very precise. So this is something which the project of the model which we are about to be introducing, which we are about to communicate, is something which actually bridges a gap between the digital innovation, circular economy, and the smart city infrastructure. We all know what exactly the industrial symbiosis. The product of the waste which is generated by one industry will be circulated around between the other industries in a situation like, the waste of one industry will be the raw material for the another industry. So we are focusing on a principle like integrate the technology into the same principles of waste management so that how we can make a better environment. That's a principal concept relating to the same. So about the part of literature review, we use a method of Spark for SLR model and where we focused on the principles of keyword searching of smart city, artificial intelligence, circular economy, industrial symbiosis, and resource resilience. We went to the Scopus database. We have a subscription in there, and we went to the Scopus database and we culminated nearly about 200, more than 200 papers. And the thematic categorization of the paper for the study was smart city plus resource management plus industrial symbiosis. Collected 49 papers and made a study relating to the review of literature of the 49 papers from the perspective of smart cities plus resource plus ISO with the smart city artificial intelligence resource optimization. We culminated in study about 42 papers with the smart city AI industrial symbiosis. We studied around 82 papers with the smart city industrial symbiosis and circular economy. We studied about nearly 98 papers. So in total, we studied about more than 200 papers to make a situation of the understanding about how technology can be a beneficial way, useful way, or the better way in order to promote the environment. So the key insight is lack of awareness relating to the AI integration. We all talk a lot about we should be focusing on the principles of waste management. There are the various methods. These are the various initiatives which were focused on, which were introduced on, which should be introduced on relating to the principles of waste management. But there are a huge potential relating to the part of Industry 4.0. Currently, we are in the phases of Industry 4.0. It all started from the evolution of Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Currently, which we are in 4.0, which will be focusing on the generative artificial intelligence and the artificial intelligence technologies which we will be having. We are about to be transforming into the Industry 5.0 within a decade of time. So currently, we are much more obliged with the situation of elements relating to the part of this resources from the perspective of Industry 4.0. So how we can be using those. That's the main case of the study, how we can inculcate technology into the waste management principle. So this is we studied about 15 global cases on the artificial driven adoption, and this is a research gap identified. Currently we don't have an actual system where we are focusing on the principles of artificial intelligence, IoT, and the waste management principles in order to make a situation of waste reduction and waste management principle of the people who are residing in urban area or the smart cities. So this is a contribution which will be having proposed. The study will be proposing an AI-enabled industrial symbiosis network. We will be proposing a model which we call it as the AIRSM, which is the AI-enabled resource energy model. So this is a literature review, like the way told in above. We studied about 49, 42, 82, and 92. This is a combination with the differentiation relating to the part. So this is a theoretical background. The core theory which were applied relating to the part of the study were knowledge management theory, circular economy theory, the study relating to the part of industry 4.0, where we will be focusing on the IoT, AI, generative and artificial intelligence theory, these things and so on. And these are the supporting theory which are coming out of the play, the industrial symbiosis, the cyber and physical system theory plus integration of digital things plus a physical process. So the artificial intelligence and the system theory, like key performance indicator. So like the way I told you from the beginning, we will be proposing a model, and the model is called as a artificial intelligence enabled resource energy model. We will be abbreviating it as the AIRSM, AI enabled resource energy model. AI enabled research model, that's what we name it as. We shortly we call it as abbreviated as the AIRSM. So it actually work upon as 8-step actually. This is a model which we just created. The step one is of identification of a smart city, for example, from various perspective or from the perspective of the government, from the perspective of human capital, or from the perspective of environment or an economy. Identify a smart city arena. And step two is of situation of taking like the stakeholder identification, which industry, which stakeholder area specifically focusing on. There should be in the firm or there should be the industries. And based upon the same, we should be reaching on to the step three. After that, inventory resource mapping. What are the renewable and non-renewable things which they will be having, the degradable pressure they will be having. The next one is of data management, where we'll be focusing on the principles of integration of artificial intelligence plus IoT for the information transformation related to the part of the waste management system. So the predictive analysis, optimization, and digital support, industrial symbiosis. This is a specific thing. So let me show you the working relating to the part. So specifically, like the way I told you about, we just created a framework. This is a framework which we will be focusing about. This is working under a 4 situational framework, 4-step model framework. We just created a model, and the model is called to be as a artificial enabled resource energy model. We're working with the 4-step process actually. So this is a first step actually. The phase one will be focusing on the digital infrastructure and the adaptive management method model. This is specifically how the AIRS of or the artificial intelligence enabled resource synergy model will be working about. The first stage is a situation of digital. When you introduce a model in an industry or a governance principle, the our model, we don't have a prototype. We are just in the planning process. We just created a model under the study relating to the deficiencies of the current system, which we actually having. So the first one is a creation of digital infrastructure and the adaptive management, where we will be acquiring the data processing and exchanging methodology relating to the various industry things and so on. The next one will be focusing on the second phase of this, which is called the strategic facilitation and the collaborative synergies. Here, in the second model of strategic facilitation and collaborative strategies, we will be focusing on the principles wherein we are focusing on the robust networking method of interdepartmental method, interconnection method. For example, the principles of industry symbiosis will be coming into place actually. The waste materials of the waste of one industry will be taken up by the other of other industry, so that the waste is actually getting converted into the raw material actually. The first phase is of digital infrastructure where the information related to
Sorry for the interruption. This is a 10 minutes gentle reminder.
Okay, sure. Just am I done or about? Hello, ma'am.
Yes, you may conclude the presentation now.
Okay, sure. So we just created a model, and this is a model which we are preparing, and this is how it will be using. We will be focusing on the principles of integration of AI, and the waste proceeds of one industry will be used by the other. So there won't be a final component as a waste. The waste will be used by raw material between different industries. For example, the waste of a home will be used as a raw material by a different industry. The waste of steel industry may be used as a raw material for the another industry, like the way the principles of the capital goods and the commerce will be working upon. That's a principle to be very precise. And we'll be working on the four-sector model. Phase one, phase two, and phase three will be focusing on industry. Focus in the implementation of principles of symbiosis, where will inculcating the artificial intelligence and the technology. And the fourth one is of monitoring and checking for the appraisals. And if there is any deficiency relating to the system, just make a feedback. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Can I go ahead with the questions?
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So the smart cities are always evolving, right? So how do you address the model drifting and data drifting? First of all, are you aware of the model drifting and the data drifting, right?
Sir, about the part of model drifting, I'm a little bit confused because it is actually, I believe it's inculcating various principles with the computer science background.
Okay.
And
So
sure.
let me explain you. So what happens is that your models are becomes obsolete because your data supporting those models no longer valid because smart city is always evolving, correct? So how do you when you're when you are building your AI, do you detect those kind of obsolete models which is no longer valid because your data is not valid, your smart city is evolving? Did you consider those factors?
As we do, sir, actually, like the way told about the system will be the project which we will be focusing on the AIRSM will be having more supporting things than the negative things. Like, for example, we should be having the partnership of the various industries also. Just because we are introducing a principle doesn't constitute the final situation of the same. We should be having the collaboration from various department, governance, and every of the smart city home and every individual households also. Participation is a mandate. Then only we can just guarantee the success relating to the system.
Yeah, okay. So in the other question is, this is the last question, that if you are getting those data from the household and the smart city, right,
Mm,
there may be a bias or hallucination, right?
mm.
Because now you are looking at only the governmental data, smart city related data, but you are not looking at the global perspective, right? How do you incorporate that um, the elimination of the biases and hallucination? Do you have the model consider the external data to check is not biased to the particular city, because the waste management, right? And one of the action is that you throw it out to another city. I'm just giving an example. So did you consider those biases, hallucination, and ethical issues?
Obviously, sir. For example, let's say take an example like, I'm a person who is residing in Kerala state from the country India. So in India,
Yeah.
we do have a system like there will be people. We call them as Harita Karmasena. They will be coming to our house and they will be collecting the waste and we'll be charging them a price. Along with the
Okay.
same, it was a normal practice. And in the last 6 years, last 6 months, they are about to be plan. The government of Kerala is about to be starting the same plan where they will be doing the same process, but they will be also inculcating the principles of a mobile app development, like the quantum, like the way we are checking about the calorie of the food we just eat. They will be just focusing on the data collection related to the part of people's meal. So both should be coming together. Just because the introduction of an artificial, like the Vesa told you about, just because introduction of an artificial intelligence system will not count as the ultimate. I agree with you, sir. Totally true.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So just a quick question. What is the major limitations in context of hardware you'll find related to your framework?
Like the part of hardware we told you, we will be having a model, but just because like the way Sal was talking about, the level of implementation of hardware an artificial intelligence model, this model is much more higher and complex than like the way we are actually speaking it. So the technical difficulties will be and the capital difficulties will be there in the process of the implementation of the initial phases. Once we are done with that, once we are okay with the support from the government and various venture capital things and so, we can wish with that. And like the second limitation would be of the same thing like the sir was talking about, like how will you be checking about the authenticity? For that, it is a time-consuming process, but we should be having the implementation of the same process manually also. Then only we can, just because of technology, we can totally rely upon the technology. We should be relying upon the technology with the manual work also. Hello.
Okay, it's fine from my side.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you much, obliged.
We'll be moving on to the next presenter. Breaking the TAM barrier, how personal innovativeness enhances ICT acceptance among university students. You may start the presentation.
Thank you, Anisha. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
I'll just share my PPT. Is this visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it okay? Can I start?
Yes, you can start.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you for giving the opportunity. So I'll quickly get into the presentation. So our research topic is trying to see how ICT adoption along with the TAM constructs can also include a level of innovativeness, which is part of the personality. Now, why did we take this study? We did a lot of research and we read a lot of past researches, and we found that in spite of the known knowledge about ICT being very important, there is still, especially for a developing country like India, and we have stress put on ICT in the NEP 2020, as well as the recent pandemic that we saw, where it was kind of very made very important that ICT is going to be a very, very important factor when we talk of education, especially for higher education. Now, whenever we talk of education, um, there are different dimensions to it, but research suggests that the dimension from the adopter's perspective, which is the student, would be a very, very important criteria, because they are the ones who drive how things would be happening within a class. Now, when we talk of student, there have been very eminent theories which have mentioned that students' attitude towards any kind of adoption or any kind of behavior is very, very important. The attitude is nothing but a culmination of all the beliefs and the past experiences. And these beliefs are again triggered by something known as personality trait. It has been observed that personality trait is something which is very unique to every individual that is there. And this is a very strong aspect that drives the attitude which in turn drives the intention to perform the behavior. So why did we take the topic? So first of all, recent literature also suggested that in spite of the spend, in spite of the focus, and in spite of the knowledge about ICT integration, the desired level of expectation integration of ICT has not happened, especially in Indian higher education context. When we talk of ICT adoption, fostering it among the student would be very, very important because they are the one who are driving the attitude for the whole class and whole technology. And it has been observed that in spite of the focus, students are also not very, very keen on adopting technology and learning. They are very adept at using technology when it comes to their personal life, when it comes to the entertainment or other aspects, but they are not as enthusiastic as they are towards ICT when it comes to integrating it with learning part of it. And from the on the students, the personality aspect will be playing a very, very important part because personality is something that drives any kind of behavior. So from there, we found a gap that the integration is not there. Understanding of ICT adoption behavior from the personality aspect of the student is not very, very prominent. And that is why we took this research. Now, before we come into the personality, we delved into a prominent theories of psychology. The major theory among them is known as innovation diffusion theory, which is a very, very prominent theory when we talk of any kind of technology and how it moves towards different segments of the society. This theory was originally proposed by Rogers in 1962 and has seen various versions. In fact, he categorized people based on their level of innovativeness, and he mentioned that innovativeness as a quality would be a very, very crucial factor which will decide any kind of innovation moving through a society. And based on this innovativeness factor only, he divided adopters into 5 categories given by innovators: early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. And all 5 of them, they were distinguished based on the individual innovativeness. So that is why from this theory, we kind of get the idea that if we talk of ICT adoption, then it would be a crucial thing to talk of the innovative factor of individuals or potential adopters to decide how the adoption or predict how the adoption behavior will happen. Of course, when we talk of technology, model, which is the technology acceptance model, comes into picture, which talks of 3 constructs. It talks of behavior intention, where it says that uh, it might be a little difficult to measure the actual usage. So in lack of that, the intention of the behavior could be a very good method of evaluating the actual usage, which is again derived from another prominent theory known as theory of planned behavior and theory of reasoned action. From this, the model also says that there are two attributes of the technology that would play an important part in technology adoption. They are known as perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. Perceived usefulness talks about the fact that whenever an adopter assumes or thinks that the usage of the technology will be beneficial to him, either in his academics or in his performance or any kind of elevation of status or any tangible benefit, they would be more keen to use the technology. Similarly, when an adopter finds that the particular technology will be easy to use with respect to lesser time taken, lesser effort taken, and lesser finances taken, then their intention to use the technology will be enhanced. So we combine these two theories, and even though TAM is very successful, very robust, very reliable, and very simple in its explanation of adoption behavior, it lacks the integration of personal characteristics. In fact, Davis, who was a major partner in the creation of the TAM model, had mentioned that later on, TAM could be enhanced to include many more factors, specifically in relation to personality at a granular level. So we combined these two theories of TAM and IDT, and we arrived at the construct of innovativeness, individual level of innovativeness, to arrive how adoption behavior will be differing from one adapter to another. Now we come to the literature review. Now, when we talk of literature review with respect to personality and ICT adoption, we have had various citations where it was noted that personality will play a very crucial part In fact, adopters are categorized by their level of innovativeness. And whenever we talk of adoption, personality, individual innovativeness has to be a factor that is to be considered. Now, when we talk of innovativeness, Roger introduced this concept, but later on, Agarwal and Prasad, they mentioned that innovativeness cannot be looked at as a whole attribute. Innovativeness is very, very domain specific. So if we talk of technology adoption, we have to look at innovativeness from the perspective of technology. And they introduced a concept called as personal innovativeness in information technology, which is what we are using for our paper. Now, innovative PIIT, as they call it, is a very, very crucial factor that drives the behavior intention. It has also been observed that innovative people will be much more experimental when it comes to technology, and hence they will find new technology easier to use. Innovative people are also very keen on taking the risk and overcoming the risk and the apprehensions associated with any kind of new technology, and they will find the technology beneficial, leading to perceived usefulness. These are the TAM construct, which are perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use. Perceived ease of use and perceived usefulness both will affect the behavior intention. In fact, it has also been observed that people who find that the technology will be useful would also put in more effort to use the technology, thereby having an impact on the ease of use as well. So from this, we come to our hypothesis. We propose that PIIT will have an impact on perceived usefulness. PIIT will have an impact on ease of use, and PIIT will directly also impact the behavior intention. Similarly, we have the TAM constructs, which says that perceived usefulness will impact behavior intention. Perceived ease of use will also impact the behavior intention. And perceived usefulness will drive the perceived ease of use also, which means that people who find it useful will be more keen to use it also. This is our conceptual model. Now we come to the methodology. Because we are talking of ICT adoption, purposive sampling would be a preferred sampling method, which has also been cited in the research also. So for our purposive sampling, we have taken three filters. First, we have gone to institutes which will have ICT in their academic settings, or the institute has ICT available. Students are exposed to ICT within their learning, and students are also having an interest to use the ICT, which we have captured through different questions in the questionnaire. The research setting has been majorly located in eastern part of India, but again, next part of the research, we try to move it to rest part of the India as well. These are some of the
Sorry to
demography
interrupt,
related.
ma'am. This is a 9 minutes gentle reminder.
Yeah. This is the demographic related data. We have done a used validated scales, and we have done a pilots testing where which were to test the reliability and the content validity. Then we have used structured equation modeling for the path analysis of our hypothesis proposed. We did the usual reliability and validity using discriminant validity to ensure constructs are measuring similar things and other constructs are not closely related using discriminant. We did the model fitness, as we can see here, which shows a good fit of the model. Then we use the path values to test the hypothesis. Here we see that out of the 5 hypotheses were supported in our path diagram using SEM. And we come to the discussion. So our research suggested that innovative people will always find a technology useful. Innovative people will also be very keen to use any new technology that would be there, which indirectly shows that innovation is itself will not guarantee an adoption, but innovative people will find a technology useful and easy to use, which will drive a also our study reported that innovation is not affected by gender. It was similar in either of the gender. The contribution is we add important psychological theory to TAM, and we contribute by introducing personality traits. The managerial impact would be that once we know that innovativeness is a very crucial factor in driving adoption of ICT, we can have sandbox, we can have workshops to give a lot of hands-ons to the student to drive the innovative factor related to technology. The research also has some limitation. First of all, we have the relationship, but don't have the causal relationship. Also, we can have a, longer, usage behavior we are not studying. Later on, as a future scope, we can have longitudinal study to understand the usage behavior. We can also include cross-cultural factors to see whether people across cultures behave in similar way or have similar level of impact on the study or not. So that is our research. And
Thank you more for the good presentation and the statistics. I have a couple of questions. So behavior intention is one thing, but there is a behavior intention gap, right? So people have an intention, but they do some actions, right? So did you counted that into your beta factor?
No, actually, like we mentioned, that one of the shortcomings is we are only measuring the intention. And like you mentioned, in the intention and actuals, there might be a difference. So what we are planning as next part of the study, we can also take in the factor of usage. So there we can also see the intention gap between the intention and the usage. So currently we are only measuring as first part of the study, only measuring the intention.
Okay.
And we are assuming, that's our assumption, that intention will be very closely related to usage. But a longitudinal study would definitely give us whether our assumption is correct or
Right.
not. As the
And
next
the
step.
another question, the last question for me is, there are models, right, that differ. So there are TRA, TPB, and UT, AUT models for the behavior intention. So did you go into that models and do your analysis at the granular level, or you just stick to the behavioral intention only? So it's a
So
reason action.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so there is a reason
Sorry, because
actions.
I didn't get the last part of the question. Could you repeat that? If I
So
missed something.
you diversified your data sets and the analysis based on the TRA, TPB, and the UT, AUT. Those are the standard the behavior intention models, right? So
Yeah.
do you look at those as well, or you would just stick to the behavioral intention at this time?
Uh, so we actually looked into TRA and TPB. In fact, TRA and TPB are very crucial, and from there the TAM model has been derived. In fact, we came across a very interesting factor in TRA and TPB, which talks of subjective norm. And later on, we were actually thinking of include that also into the model and see that apart from internal factors, how external factors will also affect adoption intention. But then because when we talk of personality, a huge gamut comes into picture. So we
Yeah.
thought we'll focus on IDT, but again, TPB, the subjective norm part of TR and TPB, that also we are very keen to study because digital natives, because societal structures has also changed, especially after pandemic. So how much they will conform to subjective norm when it comes to ICT adoption, that would also be an interesting part. So later on, probably to enhance the study, we could have other personality factors also.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vikas.
Ma'am, just a quick question. I'm not sure how you selected the sample to frame the particular study. Is it a location specific? What is the idea when you start collecting the data? The only thing which comes into my mind, because if we talk about the age factor, it's just simpler factor. There will be a difference in adaptation of a particular technology. So in that context, how you will define a behavior?
Okay, so ma'am, actually, I would say this, for our study, we had taken the higher education student. And the reason for doing that, so we believe that once somebody attains, based on the research, that once they attain an age above 16 to 18, kind of their internal traits are almost fixed. Of course, they are not 100% fixed, but the dominant factors of personality come into picture. And based on that, we had taken students who are from the higher education domain. Coming to age, so we have taken anybody. So we went into All India higher secondary education survey to find out how they defined as higher education student, and we found that they talk of anybody above the age of 18 as a higher education student. So based on that, we had the age factor. And then we also had the demography. So we did an online questionnaire which we floated across people through different channels. And the major dominant was, of course, Eastern India, because I am from that place. But we also had some representation from north part of India, the western part, a little bit from central. And later on, while we were doing this, we were also thinking, which I mentioned in my limitation and future scope, we would want to include culture also, because India is a collective culture. Similarly, for China and Japan. But then there are other cultures like Europe and USA, which are not so collective in their behavior. So we would want to have the cultural aspect and see how the data would vary. And our guess is, and our assumption is, they would vary considerably, because again, personality is something internal and they would vary by culture. So that's how we selected the student.
Thank you. Thank you from me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We'll be moving on to the next presenter. We have Sukriti M with the paper titled Deconstructing Barriers to Digital Wellbeing Among Gen Z. Do we have Sukriti in the session? Or any of the co-authors of the paper, if they're present? Since there's no response, we'll be moving forward to the next presenter. We have Rupsa Sarkar with the paper titled Dependency of Sentiment on its Aspect Using Large Language Model.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, you can start your presentation.
Okay, let me share my screen then. So, ma'am, is it visible?
Yes.
Oh, so hello everyone. I am Rupsa Sarkar from College of Engineering and Management, Kolaghat, India. So today my topic is dependency of sentiment on its aspect using large language model. So today's agenda is today's agenda is introduction, then related work, then problem statement, methodologies, implementation, research and result and discussion, conclusion, and references. So first of all, we have to know what is sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis is someone opinion or someone emotions or someone attitude from a written text expression. So as it is a opinion or emotion which is extracted from a written expression, it is also known as opinion mining. So it can be used in different types of cases like brand monitoring, market researches, improve customer services, etc. So here we can see a figure which is related to sentiment analysis, or we can say this is the full chart of sentiment analysis. Here we actually use text document from where we classify the sentiment terms which is related to sentiment classification, and from the sentiment term we actually extract or select the features, and then we classify the sentiment, and then we from that sentiment term we actually summarize the sentiment polarity. So as sentiment analysis is a saturated part of saturated domain, so we further forwarded to aspect-based sentiment analysis, which is actually a text analysis technique which categorizes the data by its aspect of the sentence or identify sentiment on its aspect. So as it is identify the sentiment on the base of each aspect, so it is known as feature-based sentiment analysis. So if we see the below example, so here it is stated that we have a great experience at restaurant. The food quality was really delicious, but the service was kind of bad. If we look into the overall sentence, it is actually a positive sentence, because here it is shown that it great experience. That means it is a positive sentence. But if we check the food aspect, it is also a positive sentence, because it is stated that it is delicious. But if we check here, if we check the service aspect, here it is a negative sentence, because it is stated it is a bad sentence. So here it is a flowchart of our aspect-based sentiment analysis, from where we take input text data as an input, then we pre-process it, then we word vector it, and then aspect term detection, then aspect sentiment classification, and last of all sentiment polarity. So for this research, we first of all we do some research on this domain. So some of the researcher work on same-event 2016 dataset. Some of them work on TBS text mining dataset. So they used RNN technology or CNN-based technology or weighted hierarchical bidirectional RNN. So the accuracy ratio, someone got 65%, or someone got 48%, or someone got 45.55%. So here our problem statement is actually we focused on same eval 2014 task 4 dataset, where 4 subtasks was given, but we are focusing on only 2 subtasks, which is subtask 1 and subtask 2. So subtask 1 was aspect term extraction, and subtask 2 was aspect term polarity. So the dataset actually divided into 2 parts, which is laptop dataset, and another one is restaurant dataset. So both the laptop and restaurant dataset is consist of more than 3,000 sentences, and both the dataset consist of human annotated aspect terms. So here for the implementation part, for the methodology part, we actually, for the aspect term extraction, we actually use a dictionary-based approach, or we actually use a dictionary-based approach. And for the aspect term polarity, we used our our workflow. This is our model, where we first did environment setup, then importing dataset, then data visualization part, then cleaning the data, cleaning the text and data pre-processing. Then we split the data into 2 parts, which is training part and testing part. And then we import model, which is GPT-2. And we train the model using the training data, and then we fit the model using testing part, and to get the final output. So for implementation part, we actually first did data visualization part, so where we did word cloud and term polarity value count. So here we can see that for laptop dataset, this is our word cloud. That means this is the aspect term of the laptop dataset, and this is the word cloud of restaurant dataset. That means this is the aspect term of our restaurant dataset. If we check the polarity count, here we can see that we are getting 4 types of polarity, which is neutral, positive, negative, and conflict. But we only need 3 types of polarity, which is negative, positive, and neutral. But here conflict part is some merging of negative or positive, or negative or neutral. So we are, first of all, we are deleting this part. And then next part, we cleaning and processing. Here we did this kind of techniques, like lower casing the data, remove the punctuation and numbers, remove the HTML tags, remove the extra spaces, remove the stop words, and tokenization. So in lower casing the data, we actually lower case the whole documents. So, and then we remove the punctuation, and then we remove the stop word, which is general word like the, is, a, and this type of words. And last, tokenization part, it is very important for our model because GPT-2 is a generative model. So we can't fit the whole sentence in once at a time. So that's why we use tokenization. So in this part, we did one by one a word as a token. We use one by one as a token, and we use one by one as a training data. So next part, this is the GPT-2 model. This is the GPT-2 model. GPT-2 actually a generative pre-trained model, a pre-trained transformer, which is the OpenAI large language model. It is used to translate the text and answer the question and summarize the passages. So the main benefit of GPT-2 is ability to generate the text from given prompt with the minimum training data. And this model actually makes it ideal for tasks such as summarization and question answering. So if we see this this part, this is here we inputting some text, and then it marks the multi-self attention. Then it is going to layer norm. Then it is feed forward. Then also layer norm, and we are getting two types of output, like text prediction and text task classifier. So the working principle of GPT-2 is here. If we see this part here, I am giving two inputs, like two tokens like D or dog. Then it is actually prompting sat. And then if we use as a input, then it is prompting down. And if we again use as a input, then it is also prompting something else. So we are getting this type of final outputs. So this is the working principle of GPT-2. So here we actually generate the answer, and then summarize the output like sentiments.
Sorry for the
Yes,
interruption. Just this is a 9 minutes gentle reminder.
Yeah. So this is the result and discussion. So here we can see the result and discussion part for two types of dataset. This is the laptop dataset result and discussion, and this is the restaurant dataset result and discussion. We can see the F1 score of negative, neutral, and positive type of emotion here is 0.64, 0.64, 0.46, and 0.97%. And here for the restaurant type of data, the F1 score of a negative part is 0.58. The F1 score of neutral part is 0.35, and the F1 score of a positive part is 0.81. So this is the two confusion metrics of our of laptop dataset and restaurant dataset. So conclusion part is the main difference of traditional sentiment analysis technique and aspect-based sentiment analysis technique is the traditional sentiment analysis. We actually predict the overall polarity. If we see our this model also predict the overall polarity, and the overall type of accuracy is 82%. But here we use aspect term as an input, so that's why we can see that the F1 score of this of both the laptop dataset and restaurant dataset is compared to the less, because actually GPT-2 is a generative model, so it can generate next words by judging the previous token. After pre-processing the data, the model predicted the result or the sentence polarity by judging the its aspects. So these are the references of our task, and thank you all.
Hey, thank you, Rupsa, for the great presentation. One question I have is some of your analysis includes 2014 and 2016.
Yeah.
Did you look at the recent like 2024, 2023 publications in the world? Because some of the examples that you have given is more NLP than GPT-2.
Sir, sorry, I can't get it. Can you repeat the question once again?
So did you look at the recent work from
Uh,
2023, 2024
yeah,
inside
I
that?
have looked into the recent work, but I did not get recent data set. I got previous data set, and for these types of data set, I have seen the recent work also, and this
Okay.
is
So if you look at it, so why I'm asking this question is because your dependency is on the sentences, right? But now in GPT, what is happening is the context. So
yes.
essentially, neutral becomes negative. If let's say there is a competition going on, right? And if they want to win, and somebody gives the neutral feedback, right?
Mm,
How do we know that the context was that the person or the people needs to win? So I'm just giving an example, right? So dependency now in GPT, what is happening? Dependency in the context depend on the previous conversation, right? So have you looked at those scenarios?
previous type of tokens actually it depends on previous type of tokens, so we
Yes.
need to actually provide whole text rather than one or two input,
Okay.
then it can predict the whole thing like what out.
Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Again, for me also the same thing, unless and until you have a quality data, the result will not be appropriate. So definitely you have to work upon the quality of data, as the aspect is data dependent, and it will be more like a customized model rather than a generalized model. What do you say?
Quality of data is low, I must say.
I'm not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
So the quality of data is low, I must say that, but
I
we
think
are
you can work upon in the future on this. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Now we'll be moving on to the next presenter. And we have Mark Anthony C. Oshaw with the paper titled Evaluating the Appropriateness of Statistical Techniques in Graduate Research, a Diagnostic Approach.
Yes, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. You can start your presentation.
Allow me to share. Okay. Yo. Okay, so before anything else, allow me to greet everyone. Pleasant afternoon. To this reputed and esteemed body, I am Dr. Mark Anthony Ochoa, together with my colleague, Dr. Stephen Cooks of the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Philippines, are elated and grateful for the opportunity to be a part and presenter of this prestigious Fourth World Conference on Information Systems for Business Management 2025 in Bangkok, Thailand, via Zoom participation. So our study is entitled Evaluating Statistical Techniques in Graduate Research, a Diagnostic Approach in Assessing the Appropriateness of Statistical Methods in Academic Research at Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, College of Graduate Studies, Philippines. So as a backgrounder, Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, located in the Philippines, is offering research-based graduate programs across field of specialization, such as in technology, education, engineering, administration, and among others. Out of respect and ethical consideration, this study neither intend to correct nor to portray wrong impression on the integrity of any types of academic researches at the College of Graduate Studies, but instead to assess and examine possible lapses or shortcomings for enhancement, specifically on the application of appropriate statistical techniques for data analysis. So this study addresses critical gaps in statistical literacy that compromise research validity, reliability, integrity, and highlights the need for enhanced methodological rigor in graduate education. So the main purpose of the study is to map and evaluate application of both descriptive and inferential statistics in various academic researches in graduate programs of the university, where its main focus is to dissect the alignment of or consistency between the specified data level of measurement and other assumptions and statistical techniques used. So the problem is that despite comprehensive statistical resources and institutional guidelines, methodological lapses in statistical technique selection persist in graduate research. Hence, inappropriateness of the selection of statistical techniques or methods not only compromise the reliability of findings or weakens theoretical contributions, but more importantly, it diminishes the overall integrity of the processes and results. So allow me to present to you the summary of findings that in terms of research designs distribution, it divulges that nearly half or 44.5% of the academic research exhibit a predilection for descriptive research, which serves as a cornerstone involving delineating and summating group characteristics such as perceived experiences, behaviors, and social practices. In this study, the design also encompasses developing and evaluating models or products for developmental and technical research purposes. Creswell offers practical guidance on conducting descriptive research using qualitative and quantitative methods, highlighting its adaptability to various research inquiries and data types. Further, substantial preference for descriptive correlational was recorded, which focuses on determining the presence and strength of relationship between variables without altering them. On the other hand, a minority opted for descriptive comparative, which involves comparing groups or variables to uncover similarities or significant differences. And finally, lower preference observed for descriptive predictive, which suggests a lesser emphasis on predictive modeling or factorial designs within the surveyed community. Then, in terms of sample size determination, a significant majority, or 57.8%, did not specify the method or formula used. So this underscores the necessity for enhanced transparency in reporting the methods employed for determining sample size in research studies, emphasizing the importance of clear methodological documentation and adherence to best practices in research reporting. Further, 19.7% of academic research opted for total enumeration, a method commonly favored when the population is manageable or precise estimations are necessary. And similarly, a small portion, 3.5%, utilize sample size calculator software, reflecting a trend towards leveraging technology for precise sample size determination. Then in terms of sampling technique, it can be seen that over half of studies fail to specify sampling techniques. So the lack of transparency in sampling methodology raises concern about research validity and generalizability of findings. So in terms of determining the appropriate statistical tool, specifically for descriptive statistics for nominal data, interestingly, nearly all academic research, or 97.3%, correctly and appropriately use frequency count and percentage for nominal variables, demonstrating strong understanding of categorical data analysis. However, as to determination of the appropriate statistical tool for ordinal data, it appears that there is a misuse or an issue of the tool simply because 89.7% of studies inappropriately used mean for ordinal data. So the problem is that mean distorts the true nature of ordinal variables, lacking meaningful 0 points. So it is highly suggested that correct approach must be median or mode for description of ordinal scale or data. And on the other hand, 94% or nearly all of academic research correctly use mean for interval or ratio data, wherein it is the proper summation of quantitative data for continuous variables. So in terms of hypothesis testing, analysis of inferential statistics application in hypothesis testing reveals significant methodological concerns in such a way that 83.5% of the academic research inappropriately use statistical methodology to test hypotheses with only 16.5% appropriateness. So the inappropriateness of statistical tool for hypothesis testing may be attributed from assumption violations such as many studies skip verification of normal distribution assumptions, which is part of the normality testing. Homogeneity of variance often not assessed. Determination of practical significance frequently omitted to determine the strength or the magnitude of the relationship or possibly the extent of differences. And also the determination of the correct statistical tool, wherein it must satisfy correct assumptions between parametric test versus the non-parametric test. Now we go to the comparison of appropriateness of descriptive and inferential statistics across type of research. So it can be depicted from the table that no statistically significant difference exists across type of research per category, obtaining probability value higher than 0.05 with small effect sizes, indicating existence of systematic issues regardless of research. And based from this, there were two salient points that were derived. One, both dissertations and thesis exhibit similar patterns of statistical misapplication, indicating institutional rather than degree level issues. Both research types show adequate performance with nominal and interval ratio scales, but struggle with ordinal data and hypothesis testing procedures. Now, as to the comparison of appropriateness of inferential statistics across research designs, the table reveals that no statistically significant difference exists across research design reflecting p-value higher than 0.05 with small effect size, indicating existence of systematic issues regardless of study design. That appropriateness of inferential statistics across different research designs shows consistent patterns of misapplication. And it is very much evident because in the table, it is reflected that there is the greater percentage of or proportions of inappropriateness of selecting the appropriate tool across research designs. Now, this study also determined procedural lapses leading to the inappropriateness of descriptive and inferential statistics. That failure to align with the chosen statistical tools with the nature of data and required assumptions, potentially resulting in inaccurate or misleading interpretations. And primarily, disagreement of descriptive statistics with the classifications of data according to level of measurement is the main problem for determining inappropriateness of descriptive statistics across levels of measurement. Second, for hypothesis testing, effect size was not determined in testing difference or relationship for hypothesis testing. The same ranks, normality test was not tested for continuous data, and even homogeneity of variance test was not tested for continuous data. And last, data transformation was not performed for arbitrary continuous data. So it can be surmised that the findings underscore the importance of rigorously adhering to standardized procedures in selecting and applying statistical tools in quantitative research to enhance accuracy, credibility, validity of findings, and ultimately advancing the quality of scientific inquiry. So based from the findings, this provides a point that there are gaps on statistical literacy, or known as foundational knowledge gaps, that affect all levels of statistical applications, from basic descriptive statistics to complex inferential statistics. And basically, this will impact negatively on research validity, such as that inappropriate statistical methods undermine the trustworthiness of research findings and conclusion. It diminishes the theoretical and practical value of academic research, and ultimately, it threatens the overall credibility of graduate research programs. So allow me to present to you the key findings summary, that there was a success on the determination of appropriate statistical hypothesis, appropriate statistical tool for nominal and interval scale, but there was a struggle or a crisis on determination of the appropriate statistical tool for ordinal scale or even hypothesis testing. So for conclusion, this diagnostic evaluation reveals critical gaps in statistical technique application that, if unaddressed, may undermine the validity of graduate research conclusions. So there is an immediate action to be done, like statistical literacy deficiencies demand urgent intervention to enhance training and methodological support. And for long-term vision, systematic improvements will ensure graduate research fulfills its role in generating reliable, meaningful contributions to knowledge. And these are highly recommended to attain a long-term vision for a reliable, a valid, and credible research undertaking. And that is to implement comprehensive statistical literacy programs, both for graduate students and faculty across disciplines. We need to revise research guidelines to include statistical diagnostics requirement, and mandate preliminary assumption testing before statistical tool selections, and the importance of the peer review to strengthen methodological review processes in graduate programs. So for future research directions, so it would be better that qualitative and mixed methods research must be included for holistic evaluation of data analysis practices. And there must be a monitoring scheme to monitor improvements following implementation of validated manuals and targeted workshops, and perhaps examine statistical practices across institutions to identify systemic versus local issues. And these are my references, and that ends my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And I'm very much, you're very much welcome to ask me questions for clarifications.
Okay, I have only one question. So any research we do, right? More specifically qualitative research, they have certain assumptions and they have some prerequisite defined. So even if they send out the survey, for example, right? They have a specific target audience and they say that, we are targeting this particular audience. Did you consider those assumptions and the prerequisites and clustering before analyze and before the analysis, that those assumptions are correct or not, or are they synergized with the research?
Yes, sir. Actually, there is a validated checklist or criteria for the evaluation of academic researches. But these researches are only quantitative research in nature. So, uh, based from the criteria, the proponents made the evaluation as to the appropriateness. Actually, we just capture one of the problems of the study, and we are just presenting that is the appropriateness of the statistical techniques applied for research.
Okay, so the statistical technique, but the statistical technique is applied based on certain criteria, right? Those criteria were being defined before they collect the data, even the quantitative data. Did you check those criteria and synergize the statistical analysis with it? That's all I'm asking.
Okay, sir. I will go back to my research, and we will try to integrate your suggestions. But I think we have done the correct procedures. We're
Okay.
in terms of evaluating or assessing the appropriateness of the statistical tool that was applied in the study. I think we made use of the properties of the descriptive stat and the properties for inferential statistics.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I just want to ask, while choosing the data sample, the students you consider were somebody who's taken the course or have not taken the course. Have you differentiate between them, or you have not considered that aspect?
Come again, ma'am, because it's quite choppy.
I was saying, while collecting the data for your analysis, the students you consider already have the statistical course, or they don't have any exposure to statistical course?
Actually, ma'am, the coverage period for the evaluation of academic researches is from academic year 2019 to 2020 and 2021 to 2021 to 2022. So it is a 3 years evaluation period or consideration for the academic researches. There were 173 academic researches that were selected, both from dissertations and also theses of the College of Graduate Studies. And I made use of the sampling approach, wherein I utilized that is a technology known as the Rouse of Sample Size Calculator to determine the required sample size. And as to the distribution, I applied the stratified random sampling.
So my question was related with the person who you have selected were
Come again, ma'am, I
exposed
cannot
to.
hear you.
Now you are able to hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
So the sample population which you take, are they exposed to statistical techniques? Have they taken some course or not? Are you aware about that?
Yes, each academic research has applied distinct techniques for their researches, and the way it was evaluated was based on a validated criteria, which was examined by experts in the field of data processing and statistics. Kumaintindihan mo?
Yeah, so Dr. Amit, you nailed it. I think that process is not being explained, right? That what how they came to this conclusion, right?
Yes,
So I
yes.
think that that you probably want to work on, Mark. That that process needs to be explained because we are not clear that how do you conclude that these are not appropriate. You see, right? But anyway, this is our command. You can take it in future studies. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let me clarify. As to the
Thank you.
appropriateness, there are properties for the usability of statistical tool for descriptive and inferential statistics. And the basis for us to evaluate that a certain research made use of an appropriate or inappropriate, that is identification of statistical tool, were primarily based on the criteria that was based from the properties of both descriptive and inferential statistics. That is my understanding, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll be moving on to the next presenter, and we have Billy Peralta with the paper titled From Prompts to Persuasion, Parameter Efficient Adaptation of Open LLMs for Privacy-Aware Email Marketing.
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, you can start with your presentation.
Uh, okay, okay, do you see my presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
Hmm? Okay, okay, good. Okay. Hi everyone. I am Billy Peralta. I'm going to present this work, which is entitled From Prompts to Persuasion, Parameter Efficient Adaptation of Open LLMs for Privacy-Aware Email Marketing. This work was a master project of Jordan Cardenas and Fabian Cardenas, and this work it was in collaboration with Marcos Levano and myself. These students are from the Universidad Andrés Bello de Chile, South America, for any reason. Okay. Okay. In a summary, we'll show how open parameter efficient RM fine-tuned with synthetic privacy-safe data can help you persuasive customized marketing emails at a fraction of the cost of closed models while keeping data in-house. You know, the privacy is a current issue in these systems. First, we need to say that naturally marketing has turned in a relevant task in current business. Personalization drives the engagement and conversions of clients, but it also raises privacy and control concerns when you rely on external providers. A natural option, of course, is to use tools provided by, GPT-5 in this moment, no? Or Claude or Gok. Okay. In this case, we focus in these two tasks. First, we observe that we need marketing personalization. And by the other hand, we observe that the proprietary LLMs could has a lack of privacy preserving. In a few words, if we use proprietary LLMs, we have a dependence on proprietary LLMs like GPT-5, Claude, and Grok, and we have a lack of privacy preserving alternatives. Our work targets bad points. First, we make a bibliographic revision. In this case, we look for works of LLMs applied in marketing. We have some conclusion in relation to this search. First, we observe that synthetic data can reduce labeling needs, but risk repetition if it is not designed well. Parameter efficient fine-tuning, like LoRa, Q-LoRa, enables enable open LLMs at low compute. Open LLMs like Llama 2 or Mistral, Zephyr. These models are available in some repositories. For evaluation, we combine overlap metrics like Blue and Rouge. And finally, we evaluate the fluency and persuasion using a top LLM as a judge. In this case, we consider the GPT-4 because this work was made in the previous year. Okay. Our approach is somewhat similar to the works of Cuervo and Pacheco. Our methodology has three main steps. First, we generate data. We generate synthetic data. Then we fine-tune open LLMs efficiently. And finally, in the third step, we evaluate with bad automatic metrics, and we consider a GPT-4 scoring. In this case, we use an approach which is called LLM as judge. Then, step one, we generate synthetic data. We consider GPT 3.5 to synthesize customer profiles, products, and email copy in a strict JSON schema, where in this case, we are able to encode demographic and behaviors. We vary temperature and seeds interested groups to boost diversity and reduce repetitions. Right now, I'm going to show the prompt. We consider this prompt. Please remember that our goal is to generate a marketing message with the hope that this message are interesting, no, and persuasive. This is the prompt that we use, and this prompt is in our paper. It's a simple prompt. It says create a product description and a fictitious customer profile to generate a short sales email for the product, and so on. Okay. In this case, we generate a email, a marketing email message. Then we apply open LLM model. We consider, in this case, the model Llama 2.2 with 7B, the Mistral model, and the Zephyr model. These are open models. In this case, we use a quantization and low rank adapter, which is called Culora. No? This method can ensure us to fine-tune this model with limited computational results. In fact, this experiment were run comfortably on Google Colab using a T4 GPU. You know, it's a free option of Google Colab. We have, in fact, the notebooks available also.
Sorry for the interruption.
Finally,
This is a 9 minutes gentle reminder.
Sorry. In this case, we have the evaluation approach. We use two metrics, the blue and rouge metrics. Okay. You know, these are very popular metrics which are used in the comparison on text model. No, the blue measure the degree of n-gram overlap between generate and reference outputs. Okay, and rouge is somewhat similar. Okay, and we use a qualitative score based on GPT-4. Okay, we have these results. Okay, the idea were compare the open model results with GPT-3.5 message. Okay, the GPT-3.5 were the reference. In this case, we test this model. These are in fact the average of the performance for each model. We obtain that Llama 2 has the Mistral model has the highest blue score, which means that is the message more similar to GPT-3.5 emails. Okay, and in the rouge score for the fine-tuned models, we have that the Mistral has the best recall and the best recall. Okay. Okay, in this case, we can say that Mistral were the winner. Okay. Finally, we evaluate the capacity to obtain cohesive and persuasive emails, and GPT-3.5 was the baseline, obtained the highest score, obviously. But in this case, we have a coherent result because Mistral obtained the highest score. Okay, 7.7. Okay. Finally, we observe the resulting emails, no, and we obtain in this case a message which was better in comparison to the other models, no. It's a example or generate marketing email, no, which we see that as a persuasive and cohesive message. Okay. Conclusion: open source LLMs are competitive for marketing personalization. Mistral offers the best balance of performance and fluency. It has a privacy preserving a cost-efficient alternative. We plan to extend to multimodal option, and finally, we plan real-time applications. That's the bibliography. and thank you.
Hey, Willie, thanks for the presentation. Couple of questions about, did you try the different scenario of the marketing? Because see, if you market some healthcare product versus some financial product, it differs, right? And there are different privacy laws. So healthcare, you have HIPAA, finance, you have a PCI. So have you tried in that scenarios, different scenarios for different industry and different regulatory requirements, how the model performs?
Sincerely, we didn't try these alternative scenarios. I understand the importance of this question. We orient our work to sales emails, basically.
Correct. But now, once you do this, have you tied up your this metrics with the sales and marketing metrics like net promoter score or something like that? How it is, just to see how it is performing after you use this LLM.
If we see how it's performing this message.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that once you do this, right, did you tied up with your sales metrics, like how it is performing in terms of sales, or did you simulated something on the sales and marketing metrics? Okay.
I think the network is.
Yeah, he froze actually. Okay.
Should we move forward?
Yes,
I
I think
think
so.
yeah, I think so. We should move forward. Yeah.
Okay. So next up, we have Ricky Tim Solomon Sisson with the paper titled Liberty to Equality, Hotel Management Application Level of Diversity Management in Selected Department of Tourism, Accredited Hotels in Pangasinan. Do we have?
Sorry, okay, my connection was very sorry.
Mom, should I share my presentation now?
Yes, you can start.
Let me just share that presentation. Do you see my screen now? I'm sorry, I could not put it in a full
Yes.
view.
Visible.
Should I start now?
Yes.
Thank you. Good day, distinguished colleagues, participants, to our moderator, Anisha Mishra, our session chairs, Dr. Vikas Shah and Dr. Amita Sharma. Diversity management has increasingly emerged as a strategic imperative in hospitality studies. Studies have shown that it drives employee engagement, creativity, and organizational performance. In Southeast Asia, and particularly in the Philippines, hospitality businesses are beginning to recognize that inclusive practices not only promote equity, but also provide a competitive advantage by improving service quality and strengthening team collaboration. This is the reason why today I am presenting my research, and I am honored to present this entitled Liberty to Equality, Hotel Management Application Level of Diversity Management in Selected Department of Tourism Accredited Hotels in Pangasinan. As the industry in Western Pangasinan transitions towards growth in the post-pandemic era, this study explores how diversity management intersects with the demographic realities of Department of Tourism accredited hotels, focusing on both managerial application and employees' lived experiences. Although recent Philippine studies highlighted progress in implementing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, such as bias training and inclusive recruitment challenges remain. These include weak managerial visibility, inconsistent strategies, and execution gaps. Surveys show that while many firms formally adopt DEI policies, practices often stay symbolic rather than transformative unless strongly reinforced by leadership at all levels. For this study, the researchers employed a quantitative survey design to examine how diversity management is applied in hotel administration and how it affects employees in Department of Tourism accredited hotels in Western Pangasinan, Philippines. This design allowed me to gather comparable data from two respondent groups, the managers or supervisors and the hotel employees. To ensure relevance, researchers use purposive sampling, requiring at least 6 months of work experience and direct exposure to diversity, equity, and inclusion practices in their hotel facility. Two structured questionnaires were adopted from published papers, developed and enhanced to fit necessaries of the locale of the study, one for managers and one for employees. Both were based on four subscales or the sub-variables for the studies, namely employee engagement, creativity and innovation, stereotyping and bias, and employee retention. Responses were rated using a 5-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And to ensure quality, the instruments went through content validation by experts. This is in a Department of Tourism accredited hotel in the National Capital Region, and a pilot test with 30 non-participating respondents and reliability testing, which yielded convex alpha values above 0.70, indicating acceptable internal consistency for the research instrument. The data collection was done in person with screening questions to verify eligibility, descriptive statistics, frequency, percentage, and weighted mean. This is to measure the levels of diversity management. It was applied for the treatment of data. ANOVA was used to test difference across socio-demographic groups, while Pearson correlation assessed the relationship between managerial application and employee perceptions. This approach provided both rigor and clarity in understanding how diversity management is being practiced and experienced in the hospitality sector. For the result, managers, the demographic profile of supervisors and managers in Department of Tourism accredited hotels in Western Pangasinan highlights a striking dominance of Generation Z, suggesting a shift in leadership dynamics where younger professionals assume managerial roles soon after graduation. For the employees, it results onto reflecting the industry's reliance on a youthful workforce. This mirrors a global trend where hospitality attracts younger employees for its dynamic and labor-intensive nature, yet also underscores the need for structured mentoring and career development. The workforce is predominantly female. Women frequently occupy guest-facing roles. The inclusion of LGBTQIA+ employees signals progress, but genuine belonging requires anti-discrimination policies and inclusive practices. These findings underscores both opportunities and challenges. While youth empowerment and gender inclusion are encouraging, the lack of leadership depth, work-life balance measures, it suggests the need for mentoring, for continuous training, and wellness-oriented policies. Addressing these gaps is critical for building resilient, inclusive, and future-ready organizational cultures in the local hospitality sector. The study found that the diversity management is generally well practiced in Department of Tourism accredited hotels in Western Pangasinan with a strong perceptions of creativity, innovation, and employee engagement. Diverse teams were seen as adaptable and effective problem solvers, while inclusivity supported participation and communication. The findings also show us that diversity management has a strongly positive effect on the work environment in DOT accredited hotels in Western Pangasinan, which got and garnered an overall mean of 4.52, or translated to us, strongly agree. On employee engagement and bias reduction, they emerge as the strongest domains, highlighting motivation, teamwork, respect, and psychological safety. While creativity and innovation were also positively rated, though not fully maximized due to the structural and cultural barriers, employee retention reflected favorable intent to stay, but lower perceptions of being valued suggest the need for stronger recognition and growth opportunity. The findings also show us that marital status has significantly shapes diversity perceptions, indicating that employees' personal context influence how inclusivity is experienced. At the same time, the weak link between the administrative efforts and employee experiences reveals a gap between policy and practice. This underscores the need for employee-centered strategies that both address the demographic differences and ensures policies are genuinely felt at all organizational levels. Together, these findings emphasize the need for context-driven, employee-centered diversity strategies, ones that would acknowledge demographic differences while ensuring that policies are effectively implemented and experienced across all organizational levels. Thank you. That ends my presentation.
Hey, thank you, Ricky, for the great presentation. Question
Thank you, sir.
is why you selected equality versus the equity, right? So DEI becomes a norm in the most of the industries. My question is why your study is based on equality. Is there any reason to select equality over equity?
Sir, could you repeat the first part of your question?
So to base your study, your study is based on the equality, right?
Yes.
What I'm asking is that why didn't you select the equity over equality?
Oh, for that part, sir, actually the focus I have selected um equality over equity because my study would focus on ensuring that all employees in Department of Tourism accredited hotels have the same access to fair treatment, the opportunities, and organizational support. Because while equity emphasizes adjusting resources, that is to meet individual needs, equality is more aligned with the structural and policy-driven approaches of hotels. And if we would also consider the standardized rules and policies which are applied across the workforce, since my research examines both managerial practices and employee perceptions, equality would best reflect the intent to measure whether inclusive practices are being experienced uniformly and fairly by all employees.
All right. And the second question is that your data represents specific type of hotels, or it is the data is being collected from all over, like where the data is being collected from, a specific type of hotel, one hotel, or hotels in a specific region.
Oh, okay, sir. Since the title of the study is Department of Tourism Accredited Hotels, so the hotels that are included in this study are accredited by Department of Tourism here in the Philippines. And with that number, I have at least 5 hotels, considered 5 hotels in the western side of.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is that certain whole hotels they mark it as level 2, level 3, level 5. So do you distinguish in them or it's generally treated as same in Philippines?
Actually, there are a lot of the accredited hotels in Western Pangasinan, but I have to make sure that they are all on the same level. So as a standard, I have collected the data from a 4 standard or 4-star rated by the
4-star
DOT.
rating. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, adding to the same question, what about the size of employee they are catering?
Sizes of their employees, I was also considered them. So I was on to getting the number of the employees, but ended up I have to consider the front and back of the house employees that is in the rooms division.
And what will be the future plan after completing this research? What you will going to do with this research?
Currently I am on to doing another phase of the research would end up on to coming up with an extension project that would got on to developing a frameworks so that I could suggest this to our Department of Tourism so they could use it as a framework on how they're going to standardize their diversity management.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Now we'll be moving forward to the next presenter. We have Pablo Schwarzenberg with the paper titled Terra Invicta, a browser-based adaptive game for cognitive training. Do we have Pablo here in the session?
Yes, hello.
You may start.
Thank you. Well, I am Pablo Schwarzenberg. I will present our paper called Terra Invicta, a browser-based adaptive game for cognitive training. This is a group work between Sebastián Carrasco, that is the first author, and he is a student in our university, a graduate student. And this work is with in collaboration with Marcos Levano, Carla Taramasco, and Billy Peralta. Well, our work is motivated because by 2050, 1 in 6 people will be over 65. And our work is based in a way to improve the quality of life of older adults. Well, digital technologies offers a way to improve, especially cognitive functions for older adults, especially using serious games. That is specifically the domain that we are working. Serious games have emerged as a cost-effective way to monitor cognitive skills in older adults and also deliver interventions designed to improve these abilities when began to decay. Well, Terra Invicta, or the game developed for this work, is a browser-based series games that integrate activities and game mechanics related to the application of cognitive skills of other adults, involving sequencing and construction of words and visual motor coordination in a gameplay easy to follow. Well, in the domain of serious games, there are multiple studies about their use in different domains. Serious games are different of video games because their purpose is not entertainment, but another one, principally serious games have been used in education, uh, and also in health-related goals like us, involving a diagnostic of different pathologies or in therapy of different diseases. Well, one of the studies that we based our work is the study of Salmon et al. That worked in a great sample of older adults, and they applied to them a questionnaire to find their game preferences. And their findings show that older adults prefer games that are easy to learn and easy to play. That established a critical point for the design of our game. And another characteristic that these games are specific to older adults is the preference of puzzle and strategy games. And other feature that is expected for this kind of games is that the users are able to play primarily on desktop or laptop computers, but not so frequently on smartphones, because older adults prefer PC to play instead of smartphones, perhaps by the wider screen. And that is the question, that is the reason, because of our game is designed to run in browsers, and this allows the user to play in their preferred device. And finally, well, in the domain of serious games, these games have been used for different purposes in other adults, especially to the assessment of cognitive skills, proving that designing a game for these purposes is feasible. And this is demonstrated in a study of Neto et al., where they worked with near 100 participants, showing that the use these participants do of the game they designed reveals some level of cognitive impairment that the users will have, showing that participants with good cognitive skills perform better in their games than other participants that exhibit some degree of cognitive impairment. Those previous work shows the feasibility of our approach. Well, our work is early work. We based the design of the game in one theory amply used for the design of games. This theory is called flow theory, proposed by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This theory describes three conditions that are needed for the establishment of an optimal experience in a game and in many other domains also. These conditions are the presence of clear objectives, the provision in the task of opportune feedback, and the presence of challenge skill balance. And in this aspect, we focused our first part of the work that we are presenting now. The balance between challenge and skill is critical for a good playing experience. When the challenge in the game is too high, the player and the user will have anxiety because their abilities are not able to cope with the challenges of the gameplay. For the other side, if the challenges are too low in difficulty and the skills are higher than those challenges, players have boredom. That emotion usually implies the players stop playing the game, because of that is critical to establish a adequate balance between challenge and skill. Our game is here. I do screenshots of our game. Terra Invicta is a browser tipping game. This kind of game based the gameplay in tipping in the keyboard words that appear near some objects that are falling in a mechanic similar to Tetris. The objects began to move more faster when the level increases, needing that the user be able to read the text and coordinate a response using the keyboard. We planted the hypothesis that when the person has better cognitive skills, they can cope with this challenge with an easy performance, with a better performance that other users that have some difficulty and with the reading or the writing. The screenshot at the left is a simpler level with only letters associated to each object, and the right are an advanced level where longer words need to be typed and the object fall with increased speed. The mechanism that we use to adapt the level of challenge is based in an adaptive difficulty engine. This engine is based in some parameters. One of them are presented in table 1 that are initially tuned with initial values, and their adjustment need to be done using the specific users that the game is designed. These equations that are presented here allows the game to adjust the difficulty to the performance of the user, because consider two variables principally: P, that is the current score of the user, and T, the elapsed time in the game. Like games as Tetris, where when the user stay longer in the gameplay, the pieces began to fall faster. Our game functions in a similar way. When the user is achieve a higher score and stay longer in the game began to increase the difficulty. And on the other side, when the user is beginning the play, the pieces move slower. And if the points achieved by the user are lower, the difficulty does not increase so much, adjusting the value of the difficulty to the performance of the user. Well,
Sorry
we
for the interruption. You have completed 10 minutes time limit.
Thank you. And well, we tested our game with a sample of users, applying a game experience assessment questionnaire with 17 questions using a Likert scale. 1 is the worst value and 5 the better. And generally, the users evaluated well the challenge level of the game with a mean of 4.21, and the players declared that they enjoyed the game with a mean of 4.27. These are good results, especially in the aspect of the difficulty management. The area that need to be improved is the feedback. The users evaluated the feedback the lower with a mean under 4, and that shows an aspect of the game that needs to be improved in future versions. Well, we have some conclusions of our early work. First, Terra Invicta shows that is able to deliver a responsive and motivating gameplay applicable to the assessment of cognitive skills. the design of the game is useful for the profile of the players that we expect to play the game, and the difficulty management is able to change the level of the game to the user ability. But we have some limitations. The first is the same that we evaluated our game were 15 people only, and the oldest participants were aged 50-50. We need to improve this sample in future research and involve more older participants in our work. We need to refine the mechanisms of difficulty because of the information we obtain testing with other users. We actually don't know if the difficulty is correct for users of others, but we can obtain these variables from testing. We need to add some mechanisms to support multi-session practice, perhaps, and explore some cooperative or competitive moves that will engage better the players. Well, thank you for your listening. Muchas gracias. And now, if you have some questions, I will try to answer.
Hey, Pablo, thank you. It's a very interesting topic. I can say that. So the question I have is that, the human tendency, uh, is that a factor? I understand that you mentioned that the ability of the user, right? But there are kind of characteristics. I'll give you a very example. So um, it's swimming, for instance, right? You never forget. But basketball, if you don't play, you forget, right? So those factors are being counted as in a equations on a beta, and how do you actually measure those into your equation?
Yes. Well, users can forget some words or spelling of some words. ¿No es cierto? We rarely measure that indirectly because when the users begin to commit more errors when typing, we can detect that in the game. It's more a comparison between what the user has as a performance and with a specific baseline. We need to establish that baseline for our target population, because that we tested only with people near 50-50. We need to increase that age to capture the baseline of people of some age, specific age, to decide if the performance is above the average, below the average, to identify some tendency.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just very curious how about the exposure? How long they have played the game, or they are exposed to game in a day? If we consider a single day, how long duration they have been playing on the game, and that you have recorded or studied?
Well, a typical playing session of a game is relatively short. Like the game more similar is a game like Tetris. When the pieces began to fall too fast, you rapidly end the play. It's minutes, 5 minutes, 10 perhaps. A good player could stay 7 minutes, 10 minutes. This is a challenge, really, because with short playing, we need to a small window to detect the ability of the player. We need to test it and see if we able detect effectively some cognitive impairment in the short window, but the gameplay sessions are relatively short.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We'll be moving forward to our next presenter. And we have Ravi Gautam with the paper titled Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Navigation Using Map-Based Localization.
Yeah, I am here. ISBM for giving opportunity to present my our paper. This is a collaboration paper, research paper on unmanned aerial vehicle navigation using map-based localization. Is a corresponding author is Dr. Sanjeev Prasad Pandey, and I am here to present this paper. Um, First of all, this is the outline of the paper: introduction, statement of problem, objective, literature review, methodology, result and conclusion, and reference. We will go through this short rate. Starting with introduction, an unmanned aerial vehicle navigation is an aircraft which can fly without a human pilot abroad. UAV navigation can be seen as a process of planning on how safely and quickly reach the target location. In order to successfully complete the scheduled mission, location, navigation, speed. The problem on this navigation is have been three steps: localization and mapping, obstacle avoidance, and path planning. Moving on, statement of problem. Effective navigation is still a major difficulty in the quickly developing field of unmanned aerial vehicle, especially in dynamic and complicated environment. Environment variability. Change in the environment, such as moving obstacle or alternation in terrain, can significantly affect the accuracy of map-based localization. For data processing, the need for real-time processing of large datasets from various sensors complicate the implementation of effective navigation algorithm. UAV often have limited computation localization algorithm that require significant processing power for integration of multiple sensors, combining data from various sensors to improve localization accuracy. Position challenges in terms of sensor fusion and data consistency. Scalability. A uniform UAV had deployed in large area. In the scalability of map-based localization method become a concern, particularly in maintaining accuracy and efficiency. Addressing this statement of problem, the challenge is essentially for advancing UAV navigation system that rely on map-based localization to explore solution and methodology to enhance the reliability and effectiveness of UAV navigation. The object is to localization solution for UAV operating in GNS denied environment and to increase the localization accuracy for UAV operating in GNS limitation. The localization solution will meet the need of the mass market and provide automatic waypoint navigation in GNS denied and GNS limited environment. In GNS denied condition, the localization solution can also be used to give pilot the telemetry data they need for UAV flight beyond visual line of sight. This is done because of the in Nepal the geographic condition is in mountainous and there is a limitation of GPS and GNS area. So this paper is considered on the basis of our terrains or glare degrade feature detectable feature like wall or sky disturb visual abnormality, scale ambiguity. Molecular camera cannot measure the depth without motion, so this is the challenges. In order to overcome this limitation, several methods have been studied and research has been done, such as optical flow method, stereo vision based method, vanishing line. Optical flow method has been done in GPS area, so we cannot consider this. So we have to consider GPS denied areas in our project. So that's we have done. Vanishing line technique is for indoor, so we have been concentrated in outdoor environment. After reviewing all the existing technique and the challenges associated with them, we are going for that UV automation navigation strategy for GPS denied environment, and we will be done in this process. And this is a literature review we have done. To the environment has been done by the researchers. So we have reviewed that paper and come to the conclusion about our paper. This is our main methodology, where RGB image has been image acquisition has been done, capture sequential image from the camera as the system move. So after image has been collected, feature detection, detecting distinct features like corner, edge, or key point in the image using algorithm like shift, swap, and ORV has been done. Feature matching, match feature between the consecutive image has been done to establish correspondence. Optimization refined to the post estimation using technique like bundle adjustment or graph based optimizers has been studied. Feature extract key features like corner edge from image using algorithm. Motion estimation compute the relative camera position using methods like PNP or pose estimation. Optical flow has been done. So after estimating all the data and analyzing the data, accumulated motion estimate to build a path over a time will be calculated. This is the ORB SLAM method has been done. This is our second methodology. We have taken ORB SLAM to purpose the implementation of this include the following tasks like estimation of data depth using deep convolution network and testing of deploy model or data set, creation of the sparse point cloud map of surrounding environment using ORB SLAM, selection of key feature from depth image that can help in UAV navigation. QG ground control simulation, Unreal Engine real-time evaluation of the purpose approach has been done through the custom drone. This is the step in we have taken. First, I have already explained about from the purpose methodology, given figure methodology, like initialization, sensor data acquisition, feature matching, post estimation, and after updating and correction if there is any ambiguity or disparity in the picture. So that drone cannot fly. We have been update and correction have been done. This is the implementation details. The implementation details has been depth using depth collaboration has been already shown from the block diagram. This is the one of the simulator we have followed to design, simulate and test the result and deploy according in MATLAB. This is the step we have done to flight log analysis. Different scenario simulation like 3D or motion planning has been done, and we have guided the drone according to the we have acquired knowledge, acquired result, and data processing. We have taken as MATLAB, QG ground control, flight log analyzer, metadata to go and extract the data of the images taken from analysis. This is a model. Algorithm, scenario simulation, connectivity, and deployment using a PX4, like flight data analytics, import the all the data and analyze how our system is working, and we detect the how much error has been accumulated, and reducing the error has been deviation has been our main concern. This is one of the flight waypoint we have been established to measure the initial phase of our paper. So how can, if we plan like this, how much deviation is been known if there is no GPS or the GPS denied area. So we initially we plan the simple path plan, so we can gather the information according to it. This is analysis has been done like this. This is the data, some of the data we have acquired from our custom drone using in our terrains. So we can this is a frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, like was more images has been taken to know the exact location and use data from these images. This is the corresponding
Sorry
deviation, how
for
much
the
p.
interruption.
So
Before we have
accordingly
10
we can.
minutes, gentle reminder. Could you please conclude the presentation?
Okay, okay. This is the some of the data set we have been used. So if there is more ground control point, this is the deviation we have acquired from the images. So we can see from 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, there is more ground board, so there is less deviation. If there is basically ground control point is essential to measure the deviation. Then this is similarly done. This also done like how higher image overlap, higher the result. We have concluded this is orthomosaic images. This is the one of the our path plan. This is our result path plan. We flown custom drone from this starting point, and how can it react to with GPS, with antenna or without antenna. This is the deviation disparity. Suppose there is a green line with GPS, blue line without antenna. So how can the deviation has been measured? We have been measured. This is the deviation in without the GPS. So we came to the conclusion that if image quality or precision overlap has been done nicely, then the result will be quite nice in using for GPS deny any area. This is the 3D conclusion. In GPS navigation, feature extraction. This is a future work to improve the triangulation, increase image overlap in situation where GPS is not available. Initial motion genetic marker words building, create robust hider or visual data. This is the repression we have taken. Thank you for your time and listening.
Hey, thanks, Avi.
Thank
One
you.
question. You mentioned that you selected UAV. If I ask you like why you selected UAV, did you do the analysis or you assume that UAV is provided and you are going to use it? But I was thinking that did you compare against CAP method?
But we have used UA because it is a grown technology, and easy to navigation in our country like Nepal to deliver some medical essential or to measure the path. So there is a limitation in GPS in our country. So to path plan the in convenient way, we have taken UAV, sir.
Okay. And second question. So, in your view, if let's
Yes, sir.
say, um, if we improve the quality of the camera, let's say hypothetically,
Yeah.
we have a
Yeah.
360-degree camera and a high resolution camera, does it make a difference?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That makes the difference, sir. And the quality of the image will make the feature matching or feature detection more accurate if we use the high camera, sir. So
High camera.
deviation will be less, sir.
Deviation will be less. Okay. All right. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, sir.
I was looking into the literature you have shared. There are very few recent papers. Are there no such papers, or you have not added in this presentation?
Yeah, I have taken references literature review on 2023, 21. I have not added, ma'am. I
Uh,
have taken from latest also.
So, the literature which you have taken are focusing a specific country, or it's specific to your country only? Have you gone
Uh,
through some literature?
yes, sir. Focusing in for initial phase, I am focusing in our country only, sir, ma'am.
No, the literature you have gone through,
No, I
are
have
there
taken that.
some
Yeah, yeah, ma'am.
literature which are working in your country context?
No, ma'am. No, basically there are only indoor environment or GPS. Not denied area. GPS area have taken, but I we are considered without GPS. No, not such literature, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving forward to the next presenter, Sheetal Karpade with the paper titled A Holistic Review of Deep Learning Methods in Speech Emotion Recognition. Ma'am, you may start with the presentation. Well, I see her in the session. Is there any network issue or should we move forward? We are already running late in the session, so we request everyone to please kindly conclude their presentations within the given time limit. Since there's no response, we'll be moving forward to the next presenter. We have Sukriti M with the paper titled Deconstructing Barriers to Digital Well-Being Among Gen Z. Sukriti, are you here?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I'll be presenting.
Yes, you can start.
Sure. Okay, is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is.
One second, I'm trying to okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sukriti, and along with my teammate Srinija, today I'm going to present our research paper on deconstructing barriers to digital well-being among Gen Z. This research aligns and mainly focuses on SDG 3 and 12, which is good health and responsible consumption, respectively. So coming to the introduction, Gen Z are the people who are born in the year from the year 1997 to 2012, and those are the first people, first generation people to experience the technology like the digital devices, internet, and all the screens. So and these digital platforms help improve learning and for a better communication, but they also come with some of the psychological pressures and some problems like FOMO, fear of missing out, peer pressure, anxiety, poor sleep, and loss of self-regulation. And our research mainly focuses on studying the gap or the exploring the structural barriers to Gen Z's digital well-being, despite having all these growing concerns of the digital platforms. And these are the four main key objectives of our research. The first one is to identify the key barriers which are affecting the digital well-being of Gen Z. And the second is to analyze the interrelationships between those barriers using ISM and MICMAC tools. And the third is to apply SDT and CLT theories to explain both psychological pressures and strains. And the fourth is to suggest the and actionable improvements or actionable suggestions which are aligned with SDG 3 and 12, and also reduces the problems that are mentioned in the previous slide. So this is the theoretical framework which we have used. SDT stands for self-determination theory, which says that people generally wants to have autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And when these features misses, it leads to frustration, and that along leads to maladaptive behaviors like unhealthy patterns of their sleeping and health. And CLT stands for cognitive load theory, which says that due to multitasking and design addiction, which says like some of the apps have addictive design for their user interface. So all these things make reduces the reflection, concentration, and self-regulation in the individuals. Together, these two theories explain how and why FOMO, peer pressure, guilt, and other problems starts and increases in the Gen Z. So these are the 10 barriers that we have identified in our research, which are lack of awareness, absence of digital literacy, mixed media messages, platform design addiction, fear of missing out, peer pressure, low perceived control, productivity guilt, inconsistent sleep habits, and lack of digital boundaries. And these are the this is the methodology that we have used. We have conducted a survey in June and July in the year 2025. We have a solid sample responses of 126, which consists of 80% of students and 20% of employees representing Indian Gen Z. So the tools which we have used is ISM for hierarchical mapping of the barriers. It basically, after collecting the barriers, we have segregated on based on their hierarchy, like which is more important, which is higher, which we have seen higher, having higher impact. And MICMAC differentiates like what are the driver barriers and what are the dependent barriers, like what are the main barriers that they are facing and what are the problems that come along with the driver barriers. And the data which we have mainly focused is on the device usage, like what kind of devices the people are using, and what are the platforms that they have been engaging with, and what are the habits of the Gen Zs, and the relationships between them. And these are the key findings. Yeah, so these are the key findings that we have found out using this research, that lack of awareness and absence of digital literacy and mixed media messages. These are the high driving barriers in our findings, and the sleep disturbance, productivity guilt, and perceived control, lack of perceived control. And these are the dependent barriers that come along with the high driving barriers. And we also have found out that this is a reinforcing loop, like the addictive designings of the user interfaces of the apps are overloading the people with lot of information, and that are leading to the maladaptive copying behaviors. So it says that the foundational drivers, which are the lack of awareness and absence of digital literacy, these will be cascading into broader well-being issues in Gen Zs. So these are some of the suggestions that we have provided, like the government should roll out the digital literacy campaigns to bring the awareness and reduce the misinformation among Gen Z. And in educational institutions, the digital hygiene should be added, and load management trainings should be conducted. And at workplace, the employers should be promoting the right to disconnect policies, like from the screens they had to disconnect and have a offline breaks. And platform design, and we also suggest the platform designers, the app designers, basically to encourage ethical and autonomy supportive to make autonomy supportive designs to get the mindful notifications. If the users are using it continuously for a longer time, they should send a notifications like you have exceeded your limits or something like that. So this theory extends like SDT and CLT by linking structural reforms, to reduced overload and stress. So to conclude, I would say that the foundational barriers like lack of awareness and digital literacy will trigger a chain of dependent issues like poor sleep and productivity, guilt. And with the systematic approaches, we can, like as I mentioned in the previous slide, like the government policies, the changes in the educational and workplaces, and the technologies also, we can overcome this, and which supports the SDG 3, good health, and SDG 12, the responsible consumption, ensuring interventions. And in the future directions, the future research, I say that we can have a more tracking using AI in the future, and to use the wellness tools to get the deeper insights of this research also. And these are some of the references that we have used in our research. Yeah. Thank you, and this ends my presentation.
Yes, Sukriti, thank you for the presentation. Question I have is that how did you conclude it? What sampling data you use to conclude it?
You mean to say like the data from where we have collected, or
Yeah, data you collected or you gathered or you send out the survey. How did you do it?
Yes, we have created the Google Forms, and we have sent it across to all the Gen Zs which are using the digital platforms, like the students and the employers who are like new employers, which comes under the Gen Zs. So
Yeah, okay. But only on in India, or you have sent out to multiple locations?
but currently we did it only in India. Like,
Okay, okay. And did you identify in your survey form, like your question is what kind of digital channels or what kind of activity they do, things like that, or the form is more like about the sleep? Can you kind of elaborate, like what kind of question is you were asking?
so we were mainly focusing on the like what type of the platforms they are using. I mean, which platforms they are engaging more with, and what type of devices they are using, and the laptop, mobile, tab, or something like that. So we are relating like how each one is contributing in this research.
Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so you can put it in your presentation so we get kind of understanding next time, right? When you
Yeah, okay,
present.
sure, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sukriti, the thing is that if we talk about the exposure to the platform, we talk about the digital platform, there
Yes.
may be a number of reasons why they are interacting to that platform.
Yes.
If we talk about the students, since you have taken 80% students,
Yes.
and they may be either in the 11th, 12th standard, or maybe if you're in the college. So
Yes.
during their duration of this time, they are not just exposed to social media platform. They are also taking some classes or sessions or workshops, something like that. So if you are taking up such study, how this particular thing, because that is essential part of their learning, they
Yes,
are
correct.
going to learn through online media only. So how and they're going to, even if somebody is going for a certain kind of entrance exam, they have to sit for 5 to 6 hours or 7 hours exposed to media, digital media. Then where, how you will justify this kind of study with this kind of uh, environment when they are totally exposed to digital media? They are continuously interacting, and that is their lifestyle only.
Yes, ma'am. To answer this, I would say we have like mainly focused on the social media apps like as we can say the WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube. I mean, not YouTube. YouTube also have, we all know that we have the learning courses in YouTube. Many of us refer to YouTube learnings also, but we mainly focused on this. I mean, this research mainly focuses on the other side of the other side of the social media, not the productive side of the social media. That's the reason I have also, I mean, we mentioned in the barriers that we have found, right? Like the fear of missing out. If the people are being online or offline for more time, so they might be fearing if they miss out something that is happening in the uh, in the society. And also the peer pressure, we all have like friends who force us to use social media and be online and all those things. So this is not related to the educational or screen time. We are not talking about the screen time, but it is about that the excessive use and excessive use of the other side of the social media.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I was asking that you need to put that data set so that we know like what kind of questions you have asked. And the other thing is that the type of social media also have an impact. Like if you spend time on, X versus if you spend time on TikTok, you get a
Yes,
different experience and different impact.
yes, 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 yes.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And with that, we have completed all our presentation for this session. I thank all the presenters for their presentation and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough for you all. We, on the behalf of the whole team, we thank you for your support during this fourth version and all the previous 3 versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 5th version in 2026. All the presenters would be receiving their digital certificates within 2 working days via email. And the publication will be live within 7 to 8 months. So kindly cooperate with the team of ISBM 2025. I'd also like to thank our session chairs for chairing this session. Here is a token of appreciation on behalf of the team of ISBM, Global Knowledge Research Foundation, and partners. Thank you so much for your valuable presence, Professor Vikas Shah and Professor Amita Sharma. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just at the end, I'd just like to request you all to please turn on your cameras for a quick snapshot. We have a message from Sheetal. Sheetal, we did call your name for the presentation twice, but you weren't responding. As we have to start the next session just within 1 or 2 minutes, we request you to join the next session so that we can take your presentation there. Yep. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
You
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.